Volume, developed by indie designer Mike Bithell, is an entertaining indie stealth game that takes multiple inspirations from other titles for its gameplay and visual style, but uses these forebears to produce its own experience. You play as Robert Loxley, a youthful thief who steals from the rich and gives to the poor. With the country run by a corrupt corporation under the name Gisborne, Robert uses a device called the Volume, allowing him to perform online heists while streaming his progression to the world and forming an uprising. Throughout the game, you'll be doing a lot of sneaking in order to collect the gems in each area, while avoiding detection at the same time. Volume starts off straightforward, but as the game progresses, the different types of NPCs will force you to utilise new tactics. Fortunately, there are numerous gadgets in each level. Some can be used to distract enemies, while others allow you to turn invisible for a short period. You can only carry one gadget at a time, and in some cases you may have to use them in a specific order, as some situations are like puzzles. However, when it goes according to plan, it is a satisfying feeling of manipulating your opposition. The game knows how to balance itself by introducing new enemy types, but at the same time it gives the player a variety of gadgets for each situation. Sometimes you may be faced to take the overt approach, but these moments are few and far between, and doesn't detract from the stealth/puzzle gameplay. If you do get spotted, most of the time it's instant death, but in specific circumstances it is possible to evade your pursuers, assuming you're in the right place at the right time. There are plenty of checkpoints if you do make a mistake, and while some will say it makes the game too easy, I think it's balanced enough to prevent frustration. Since there's a good chance of being spotted, if there was less checkpoints it would make the gameplay aggravating, as you'd be forced to start from an earlier section. Also, towards the end of the main story, the levels have less checkpoints to rely on, and as such it makes you be thoughtful of how each situation should be resolved. The main campaign will probably take about at least 9 hours to complete depending on your skill level, but all completed stages can be replayed in order to get the best time on the online leaderboards. Plus, the game has a custom level editor so you can produce your own levels and share them online. Despite how the environments are all set in virtual simulated rooms, Volume's presentation is outstanding. The soundtrack feels like a combination of Metal Gear Solid and Deus Ex Human Revolution. The game runs smoothly without any frame rate dips, and the voice acting throughout the small cast is very good. Sadly, that's not to be said for its narrative, as most of the dialogue is told in-game, which slows down the story's pacing. There are cutscenes, but they are sparse compared to the in-game dialogue. It tries to highlight social commentary and its impact on internet culture, such as Let's Plays, but since the story isn't well structured, it was difficult for this to be seen plausible. Therefore, the narrative leaves a lot to be desired because it feels too distant from the gameplay, not to mention the ending to Volume is underwhelming. Otherwise, Volume is an engrossing stealth game that's not only engaging, but takes inspirations from other titles and consolidates them to form its own experience. While the story could have been more polished, but if you're into indie games as well as stealth and puzzle solving, Volume is definitely a title worth sneaking into.